Hi, Cancer. I hope you guys are doing great today. Welcome to our second week of November reading. We're going to be doing relationship and career. I'm going to start with a couple of the general aspects that are going on in the sky, go right into relationship, and then I'm going to timestamp for career. I hope you guys are doing great. Remember, these are general messages. Take what resonates, throw out the rest. Don't try to make it fit if it doesn't. So, energetically speaking, what is happening this month? This week? I just feel like Mercury has a lot to do with everything this week. So we have on, depending on where you live, on the November 10th into the 11th, we have Mercury entering Scorpio again. It had kind of dipped back into Libra. Now it's in Scorpio again. And then we have the new moon in Scorpio on the 14th. Now for you guys, this is going to be hitting in your fifth house. So let's first talk about the fifth house. We call the fifth house the house of fun, the house of romance, the house of creativity, right? Landlord is Leo, ruled by the sun. Okay, what does it all mean? Stuff with your children. Anything having to do with kids. Anything. Having kids, wanting to adopt kids, the relationship with the kids that you have already, anything to do with them. It has to do with falling in love and romance. It's not so much that marriage level partnership. It has to do more with like boyfriend, girlfriend, love affairs, lovers, falling in love. Also, how you connect, regardless of what level relationship you have, how you connect with your partner on a Monday through Sunday. You know, in the everyday, how you guys really connect. It also has to do with your hobbies, your entrepreneurial efforts, things that you might want to actually like, that you really love, that maybe you're thinking about, oh, maybe I want to make money doing that or anything like that. It also rules gambling, right? So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the fifth house. So you're going to be feeling this Mercury Scorpio energy in there. So Mercury, what is Mercury? I feel like Mercury gets broad stroke to just be about communication and technology, which it is about communication, but let's be clear. Uranus actually rules technology. Mercury rules the communication we have via technology. So it doesn't actually rule the technology, it rules the mode, it rules the actual activity of it, right? If that makes sense. So we have this happening, okay, this heavy energy. Mercury does rule that. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Gemini is the third house. Virgo is the sixth house. The third house, together, what do these mean? Gemini is about, yes, communication. It's about literally speaking with one another or putting something out in the mode of something that's communicative via music and poetry or a podcast or, you know, some sort of channel, right, that you put out there or anything that you write. It has to do with marketing and advertising and anything like that. Any sort of communication like that. It's also the house of the student. It's also the house of your neighborhood, you know, your immediate environment. It's the house of your siblings. So it's a lot. Mercury rules all of this, okay? At the same time, it does rule the sixth house as well, which is Virgo. Virgo is the problem solver of the zodiac, very mental, very problem-solving energy, very critical of self, critical of others, but with the end point of solving a problem. Now, in that sixth house, we experience our day-to-day environment in general, particularly our day-to-day work environment if we're working, our colleagues and coworkers if we have any, but it also rules our health, mental, physical, emotional. How are we feeling physically? How are we feeling mentally and emotionally? Where is the connection between our mind and body going on, right? And it also rules our small pets. So when we say Mercury is retrograde and Mercury is doing anything, understand that Mercury means all of those things, not only communication. So the fact that we have Mercury hanging with Scorpio, which is that eighth house. So a lot of thinking having to do with our Scorpio energy. And what is Scorpio in that eighth house? It's how we show up as a we in relationship and partnership. How we show up with combining our money, our communication, our resources, our intimacy. If it has to do with a business connection, how well are we working together as partners? What are your investments looking like? Cancer, all right? If you have money in the stock market, if you're waiting for some sort of settlement to come in, if you're waiting for some sort of lawsuit to settle, having to do with anything, even having to do with like inheritance or anything like that. That's all eighth house energy, right? But generally Scorpio is about like endings and beginnings, but this blending, it's very much this blending. So there's going to be a lot of thought about this blending activity when it comes to things that you're creative with. And it's a really good way of looking at it, and I hope that makes sense to you, is you're really going to be in the space of understanding, you know, where you show up, where somebody else shows up in romance and relationship, and how you guys connect in the day-to-day. Are you having those important conversations about money, about where you see your relationship evolving to? Are you having that conversation with your business partner? Are you having those conversations with maybe with your children, with your adult children, you know, where you guys are understanding each other? Okay, so that's how that's going to hit. And then we also have Jupiter conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, and this is happening in your 7th house. 7th house is the 7th house of partnership. It has to do with marriage level relationships. It could also be anyone you have a shared soul purpose with, so a very close family member, friend, business partner, anybody like that. So this week is all about connections and with other people. Cancer, it really is kind of across the board. Now, this is a good thing though, because when we have Jupiter conjunct Pluto, Jupiter is about luck and expansion. To say something is conjunct, it means working on integrating, combining. So it's that luck and expansion combining with transformation and change, which is what Pluto is. And this is going to be happening again in your 7th house of partnership. So I do like there's going to be like a lot of concessions and what's the word? I'm going to say temperance, which is the tarot card. A lot of compromise. Yeah, that's the word. There's a lot of compromise that's going to be going on. A lot of connecting in that way. Now, also, we do have Mars stationing direct in Aries, and that's going to be happening in your 10th house. This is going to be important, particularly when we get to the area of career, because 10th house does rule most people's midheaven. It has to do with career, what it is that you do, right? The area that, whatever it is that you do. So I'm feeling like many of you may have been feeling very, very restricted because Mars has been retrograde. Now the thing is this, it's stationing direct this week. And whenever a planet stations direct, the energy is tenfold. And it may feel uncomfortable, but it's like reaching a precipice or getting something to the point where it has to go pop, right? And then for the gifts to come out, right? It's definitely going to ease up, I promise you, after this week as we go closer to the middle of November, having to do with your job. So again, anything where you've been feeling held back in your work is definitely going to be opening up. So that's all we have for the energies. I'll be weaving those in and out, but let's get right into pulling some crowning energies from the Island Time Wellness Oracle deck for relationship. Okay, for our Cancer friends, we have Masks to start out, addiction, the Sword and Rose, I like you, keys on a ring, one more, camera, okay. So I'm going to interpret these for the different kinds of scenarios that you might find yourself in, because these are general messages. So the mask means not showing true feelings, high personify, pretend, delude, gaslighting. Now, I give you all of these phrases, but guys, understand that it doesn't mean all of those. It could mean one of them or a couple of them. Not showing true feelings, though. Gaslighting, hiding, personifying. Now, we have this followed by the addiction energy. This is about codependence and obsession, controlling, having a block, restraint. Addiction to me is anything where there's an imbalance. So this could certainly have to do with literally an addiction to some sort of substance or some sort of sensibility or way of thinking. Like an addiction to me could absolutely be like a gaslighting situation because it indicates imbalance. Gaslighting is what we see, a lot, unfortunately. It's very unhealthy. Gaslighting is the kind of thing where it's like, I never said that. That's not true. You're crazy. Everyone thinks it. That never happened. Why are you saying that? Kind of thing. Right? So that could definitely be happening in the mask energy, but the mask doesn't have to be that negative thing. The mask could be, especially if you guys are, let's say you're single, but you're still healing from something in the past, you wearing that mask to just sort of get through and move on with your life, making the decision to say, well, I have a choice. I can lay down and just be a bleeding heart for this thing that didn't work out, or I could gather myself together and kind of try to get myself sort of ish out there again. But some of you might be feeling some sort of block or some sort of restraint. Now, we do have the clarity coming to the forefront here. Some sort of revelation of truth. Okay, and we have this working with the I like you, romance is blooming, wanting to date, keys on a ring, has to do with many options, an unconventional kind of relationship. It could be unconventional. It could also indicate like stringing along some sort of one-night stand. Okay, and then we have camera, reminiscing, keepsake, perception, learning from the past and making memories, right? But there is this idea of reminiscing and learning from the past. So for some of you, I do feel like maybe you were with somebody who struggled with an addiction, or maybe you struggle with an addiction and this truth came out. And there ended up being this ending of something, and then you went out and tried to date, and maybe you were in the space of just sort of being a little vulnerable, right? And where you end up meeting this energy that somebody likes you, and it gets into this flirty sort of, you know, kind of energy. But the thing is, this person may have some options, and you realizing this may be like, oh, I miss this person, even though this person maybe wasn't so good for me. You know, it could be that. Now, this could be happening to you or to an energy that you've been dealing with, where if you guys are in a space of being broken up, the breakup could have to do with some sort of codependency, controlling, imbalanced situation. But the breakup happens, and there being some sort of, you know, situation where you guys sort of go your own way and you try it with other people, and you're like, no, you know, and where the sword and the rose could be the truth of you realizing you actually still want to be with that person, or them realizing they want to be with you. Now, that could be if you're single, if you're sort of like not in a, you know, a consistent relationship, right? Because a lot of people are in relationships that there is an ebb and flow, right? There are cycles within relationships, right? Anybody who's been in a relationship for a very long time understands there are good cycles and there are not so good cycles. So there may be something going on, Cancer, in your situation, Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising to Venus, where there is this issue of addiction at play within the connection, and somebody is wearing the mask. Now, the mask could be worn by the person with the addiction, whether it's you or your partner, where it's like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with me. I mean, well, you totally know it. Or them trying to call you on something, but something coming to light. There is this revelation, there is this realization, you know, and it just is, you know, and this tells me that something comes to light. Now, I have to tell you what I'm feeling here, though. This is not going to resonate with all of you, but enough of you where I need to say it like this. I feel like there is going to be attention from somebody else that you're going to treat sort of as like an option. And I know that sounds like cold and messed up, but I feel like if something is really unhealthy, you may use somebody else as a diversion to help you through a tough period in something that you're in. But I actually don't see it going anywhere. I see you sort of using it as a way to sort of busy your emotions, but then you learning from some sort of situation, or somebody learning their lesson, and there being this sort of reconnection, reconciliation kind of thing. That's kind of what I'm getting in. It's not kind of, let me say this. That is what I'm getting here. So let's just move these over here and see what we get. Should I use the chakra tent now? I'll use the crystal visions. So we're going to do past, present, near future, final outcome. Okay, we mix it up. We did Celtic cross spread last time. We'll do this time. All right, so we're starting with the Page of Wands, the Knight of Swords, Queen of Cups, reverse, the Empress, reverse. A lot of reversals here. Ace of Wands. Reversals are not always a bad thing, guys. They are not. We got the Unknown card in reverse. Well, that's good. That means something's coming to light. Three of Pentacles in the reverse is the final outcome. And we have the Ten of Wands. Okay. Now let me just pull another layer for each of these. I'll pull them up as I read them. So that's the recent past. This is the present. This is the near future, and this is the final outcome. Okay, all right. So we have the Page of Wands and the Two of Cups both reversed. So when we have the Page of Wands reversed, this does indicate you're dealing with a very immature energy, for sure, right? And because of this immature energy, there ended up being a breakup, some sort of separation or agreement. You just, Cancer, I just feel like you just stopped being interested in somebody, or I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not on board with that anymore. Somebody just really having a hard time, you having a hard time with somebody's level of maturity or lack thereof. We have this working with the Nine of Swords reversed and the Emperor energy. So the Knight of Swords in reverse is indicate like, it's kind of like a violent energy. When I say violent, I mean, it could be like a violent kind of argument, or somebody who's very aggressive. Somebody who's actually like deliberately mean, deliberately cruel. It's like they're not getting their way, so they're being really, really mean to you, and that could be gaslighting. This could be deflection, trying to, push onto you what their issue is, kind of thing, blaming you for everything, right? But I see you as the Emperor right here, and the Emperor's just not having it. It's just not having it. So the Emperor, first of all, is about being a leader in your own life. This is an Aries energy ruled by Mars, and it's recognition that something that you've been involved in is not good for you. And Mars is all about bringing us onto the path that we're meant to be on. And this is a fresh path and a new perspective. And you're kind of taking the bull by the horns, Cancer. This is what I see in your recent past, even if something was painful for you, even if it wasn't the easiest thing. Because that's the thing, the Emperor does not always have all the answers. The Emperor just has a level of willingness to not be in whatever he was in, and he wants to start something brand new. Right? So really that is the energy there. Now for some of you, you may have been meeting somebody brand new, as the Emperor can mean meeting somebody brand new in the recent past, and this is a good energy to meet, right? If you're if you just met somebody, if you're resonating with this is a good, like, ride or die kind of energy, very faithful. The Emperor energy is very, very faithful energy, which is really nice. And we have the current situation here. We have the Queen of Cups in reverse, and it's working with the Four of Pentacles. So the Four of Pentacles, some of you may be in a space of protecting yourself, this is like we call this the card of greed. But what does that really even mean in a relationship read? Because Pentacles doesn't only mean money; it means mental, physical, and emotional connection, right? So if you're being greedy with your connection, it means that you're protecting yourself. You're holding your heart very close to yourself, and you're being very cautious about who you actually allow in, because you have a desire for long-term security. Of course you do. You're Cancer, right? But you don't really trust every energy that you're coming across to actually treat your heart kindly, to treat your heart with respect, and to really just be kind, and I am sensing it's because of what you've been through, as we have this working with the Queen of Cups energy in reverse, and this indicates to me, Cancer, a smothering energy, somebody who's super insecure, and this also is another addiction energy. So again, the way I always understand addiction is any level of imbalance. So yeah, it can be alcohol, drugs, food, sex, money, shopping, video games, anything where we allow ourselves to get lost in something, but it creates an imbalance in a situation, in relationship. It can be, there can be an imbalance having to do with anxiety and depression that's gone unchecked and untreated as well. This idea where somebody who has to have their own way, that's definitely in this energy as well. So, it's like, some of you are going to be in that space where you want what you want it because you're very afraid of letting anybody in. Others of you are going to be very dealing with an energy like this, who's like a little smothering, who's a little like, it has to be my way kind of thing. And you're just like, whoa, I have to like protect myself. So it's going to be different depending on what your situation is. For sure, those of you who are dating, you might be meeting somebody who's just like, it's been 5 minutes, why haven't you called me? Or you might be that way, right? Depending on what your situation is. Don't beat yourself up if that's your story, if that's what you are, that, That's just what it is. It's just important to understand, why we do these things. So we have two major arcanas currently in the reverse. We have the World and the Empress. So the Empress in reverse indicates a dependence on others, and an inability to grow something into moving forward. So you may be in a situation in relationship right now, Cancer, where you're not able to grow something. Whether it's because of you, whether it's because of them. Again, the energies are too enmeshed in these relationship reads to say everything is one way or the other. So you have to apply it however you resonate with it. Some of you are going to be, in the space of realizing that there are fertility issues going on within this connection. You guys have been trying to have a child, and maybe you can't. You're going to be realizing there are limited resources for you guys to be able to move forward in the way that you want. Maybe you want to buy that house, but the money's not there, or you're out of work, or they're out of work, and there's this over dependence. But whatever it is, it's getting in the way of there being growth, right? Remember, the Empress energy is Venus, and Venus rules not only love, but it rules money. It's one of the money energies. It's also our self-respect and our self-value and how we feel about being in something, right? And it's working with the World reverse, right? And this indicates there's some sort of unfinished lesson. However, there is some sort of delay in moving something forward, but there is this idea of an unfinished lesson having to do with something that's not able to grow right now. Okay, now in the near future, we have the Nine of Wands working with the Ace of Wands. Two Wands energy. Wands are always about will, motivation, right? Really looking to move forward in something. So the Nine of Wands, let's look at this. I mean, this is a Moon in Sagittarius energy. So Moon in Sag, Moon is I feel, and Sagittarius is about being able to move forward with integrity, being able to move forward with luck and expansion, right? So you're feeling optimistic and positive even in the face of something that could be rather negative. You're feeling this desire to still be persistent in something, even though you're in a space of keeping and trying your very best to maintain boundaries. Not always the easiest thing for a Cancer archetype, and we all have Cancer somewhere in us, not the easiest energy, but you're trying very hard to do that. But this does tell me that you still have fire in your belly left for somebody. Now, for some of you, that fire left in your belly could be just for love in general and just relationships in general, where you're realizing that something didn't work. I'm not going to close myself off to love. I still want, I still want to start something, right? Because we have the Ace of Wands energy here, which would indicate a new passion, a new motivation to move forward. This, this new idea, meeting somebody new, this urge, right? Now, for some of you, this can literally be the urge to create, but we have that Empress energy where it's like you have this crazy urge, not crazy, beautiful, actually, but meaning intense is how I meant that. Intense energy to have a child, or this intense energy to move forward and have and feel grounded and feel rooted, right? Because you guys are Cancer, you guys are all about the fourth house of feeling grounded and rooted and safe. You have this unbelievable motivation to create that for yourself. You very, very much want that, and you feel very persistent even though you've been through a lot with an energy. So some of you, you're going to be still giving a certain person another shot. Others of you, because I feel like there's some sort of lesson that is not completely learned, even though something may have ended. For others of you who you met a new energy and you're just in this mode of self-protection, you can be two things at once. You can be protecting yourself because you're scared, but at the same time, you have the strong urge to sort of move forward in a healthy way and create, and they have this strong foundation. Seven of Wands is about feeling the need to defend yourself, self-defense, protecting against something that you feel is competitive or threatening to you. So this could maybe be other people, that are sticking their nose in the relationship. This could be feeling competitive with your partner's past. This could just be feeling very defensive about what you want, need, and desire, feeling like you need to defend the way you are in relationship. Like maybe you do need to be in very close communication with your partner. And maybe if you're dealing with an energy that, an archetype that normally naturally doesn't gravitate that way, like maybe an Aquarius, or so, where they're a little more free spirit and they kind of maybe forget to call, whatever, that if you need the close communication, there's nothing wrong with that. Or you're going to be in this mode where it's like, why do I feel like I need to defend myself? But the Seven of Wands, what I like about the Seven of Wands is a Mars and Leo energy. So it's you going in there very assertively, not aggressively, but assertively saying, look, this is what I want, need, and desire, and you drawing the line in the sand. Because you know now, the unknown card is kind of like this sort of, lack of clarity, sort of this dark night of the soul. It's this thing that's bothering you that you can't put your finger on. But in the reverse, it's like, oh no, now I see. I know what I need. This is, you absolutely know what you need, and you're ready to draw the line in the sand about what it is. And for you, it's about moving forward. For you, it's about the Ace of Wands energy and you having this urge to create this new experience for yourself moving forward. Now, as the final outcome energy, we have the Seven of Cups in reverse. Great energy. This is about clarity. The illusion ending. There being sense restored to a situation within relationship. We have this working with the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Now, with this, you're going to feel for a minute at least like you're not getting the support that you need. This can absolutely be like you feeling like somebody's just not showing up the way that they said they were, not showing up the way that you need them to be, just really feeling like they're not showing up. But when we have it working with the Seven of Swords in reverse, this is about that reality coming to light, right? Some sort of truth coming to light, being caught doing something, somebody's caught doing something, caught not showing up, caught not... I know that sounds very controlling, but it's like the light shining on something and it like you can't ignore anymore, right? But because the light is shown on something, it's going to allow amends to be made, which is good in the Seven of Swords reverse, right? And then we have this working with the Ten of Wands energy. And the Ten of Wands is just about stress and exhaustion and too many burdens, right? And what's going to be realized in the Seven of Swords? What is that conversation? Because it's conversation, because it's sword energy, right? What is this conversation going to be? Because swords in reverse, it typically means truth coming out and there being some sort of conflict. What's going to be discussed? The fact that something is stressing you out, Cancer. Stressing you out. That's what this is. This is exhaustion. This is too many burdens. This is the multitasker energy. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, so many things. It could just be you saying to somebody like, listen, when you do A, B, and C, it stresses me out. I can't be in this unless we make some adjustments. Like this is, I can't. I'm mentally shot. I need to put these wands down. It's wearing me down. I can't do it anymore. But it's that very recognition and that admittance that's going to be laid out on the table that you guys are going to be able to address. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's like better out than in. That kind of energy is definitely what I see going on here. So Libra, some of you are going to be in the space of saying, look, I can't do this anymore. I just can't. I gave it a go. I really want to have this established, firm kind of thing. And some of you just saying, I can't do this anymore. Others of you are going to be having an experience where you admit that to somebody and somebody's saying, okay, I want to work at this with you, right? Because it may be that they don't even see what it is that they're doing. It's going to be a different experience for each of you. But that's the energy that I see going on here. So let's pull a few heart oracles. And then we'll go on to career. Wait, don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. Romance, Cupid's arrow strikes. Sexual union, honor the place in one another where you are one eternal soul, for there you will find true bliss. Yeah. So I do see for those of you who are together and in relationship, you're in a bit of a struggling time and you need to get your voice heard. It seems like something's going on that's mentally, emotionally, in some way stressing you the hell out. And it's wearing you down, like internally. And you know, guys, those of you who've been watching me, even the glyph on my channel, right? That tree, it's as above, so below. What we allow in our external 3D is going to manifest in our body, and we have to honor that. So if we're being treated unfairly or just just not in the way that we feel is in a way respectful of ourselves. We have to get it out. We have to put it on the table, and we have to respect how it is that we feel and process. And we need to be with people who value that within us as well, right? And that's really what I feel like this week's energies are about. Those of you who are single, it does seem like somebody new is coming in, right, with that Emperor energy. But I feel like you're not going to be totally over something from your past. I do feel like there's going to be some residual processing going on there, which I think is kind of normal, right? Well, depending on when the relationship ended. But anyway, who am I to say? Who am I to say, Cancer, right? Well, thank you so much for joining me for the relationship portion of the reading, and let's go right into the career and money section. So career and money is not only going to have to do with career, but money in general. So, you know, maybe investments outside of your career, or some sort of money situation you have going on, like with a legal situation, some sort of inheritance. This could also have to do with maybe your partner's money, anything like that, especially because we have Scorpio, that 8th house, so heavy around us right now. But like I mentioned before, we do have Mars is finally stationing direct in Aries in that 10th house for you. So let's see what we have. How are you going to be moving forward? Okay, we got the Park, Ruby, Birch Broom, Choice, Stairs, Fish, Bridge. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is just a very like Mars stationing direct in Aries in your 10th house kind of Lenormand read. Okay, so the Park, what does the Park mean? The Park means networking. And it also indicates social media. So either you do work on social media, or you're going to be making connections via social media, or any online thing. This could even indicate like emails back and forth, you dealing with foreign lands, foreign cultures via the internet. This could also have anything to do with, you know, there might be a vibe having to do with structure and organization and things needing to be and go a certain way for you guys as well. Because that 10th house energy is Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And 10th house energy really is about structure and work, but it's about, you know, working in a very particular manner, right? It's sort of like, you know, think about like politics, right? It's kind of like politics. What's the reason for politics? Well, that's a loaded one, right? But let's just, you know, it's from a rhetorical point, right? It's, you know, for structure and organization, right? So I do have this idea that this is important for you right now. It has to do with, the ruby has to do with a strong foundation. But there's going to be an argument, and the argument is going to incite some sort of choice. And it's not a good choice, bad choice kind of thing. It's just simply going to be, you need to make a decision about something, and you really need to work with what you have. The fish does indicate money, but it indicates working with what you have in order to build. And then when we get the bridge is about meeting somebody halfway. The bridge does signify contract signing, meeting halfway, compromising, anything like that. But there is this signing of something on the dotted line, having some very productive conversations. But the conversation specifically, you're going to be productive about like what it is that you need. You're going to be talking about money. You're going to be talking about what it is that you need, you know, keeping it real in order to have a strong foundation in your life. So I feel like the internet has something to do with how something is rolling out. The idea of a strong foundation is going to be argued. You're going to be made to make a choice in something having to do with money, but it ending well. Ultimately there's going to be a meeting of the minds here, is what I see. So we have that. Let's pull the light seers for past, present, near future final outcome. And guys, these are general messages, right? So for example, let's say those of you who aren't sure of your chart and all of that stuff, right? Maybe you're not, you're not sure about the astrology part. Remember, our rising sign does drive our chart, our house placements. So you can use any free birth chart calculator. If you know your time of birth, you have to know your time of birth, because the rising sun changes like around every hour, hour and a half. So when you get your birth chart, if you see what's on your 10th house, whatever energy is on your 10th, if you know your chart, you should also check out the career read and money read for that energy as well, if you know, right? It's where it gets a little tricky with the general energies. But sometimes we get it right, or resonate. It's not about right or wrong with tarot. It's about who resonates and who doesn't. Okay. Oh, nice. Nice. The Ace of Pentacles, King of Wands is the final outcome. Beautiful. Very good. Okay, let's see what other outcome. Hierophant, fabulous. Three of Swords. All right, what's coming to light? Okay, figure that out. Let's see. I feel like you're going to be leaving something and going into something else. We have the Magician reversed and the Queen of Wands. Let's talk about the Queen of Wands first. You're feeling very confident, very self-assured, very focused on wanting to do something. We have the Magician reversed, though. This indicates a scattered energy and wasting resources, feeling very unfulfilled, feeling like you have so much more potential in you that is not being, either appreciated or used, unfulfilled potential. Yeah. Not being able to make it happen for a number of reasons, though. I mean, and the thing is, we had Mercury retrograde. Magician is a Mercury energy. We had Mercury retrograde, but Mercury, even though Mercury came out of retrograde, it's in post shadow until like the middle of the month. So we're not going to be feeling a lot of this forward movement. So it could be that, but it's this idea of scattered energy and just feeling like you're 100 places at the same time and you're not really focused in the way that you would like to feel focused. And you just feeling also like the victim of a situation, like somebody was taking advantage of you. You were in a situation where maybe somebody promised you X amount of dollars and they didn't follow through with that, or they promised you certain hours. So there was some sort of situation where you feel like somebody, for lack of a better term, ended up being a bit of a traitor, if that makes sense. There's selfishness indicated here. So you could be realizing that somebody has been very selfish with you, but there is this, I feel like this lack of clarity, right? Because the Hangman energy is a Neptune energy, which rules the 12th house. It's about the subconscious. But having it be in reverse, I feel like you're realizing this, right? You're realizing how somebody was maybe taking opportunity or advantage of you in one way or another. And you're really thinking like, okay, how fair is that, right? Justice upright is about cause and effect, win-win solutions, and the truth coming out of a situation. Remember, the Justice energy is Libra. Libra is that 7th house of partnerships, not only marriage, but business connections. And even, I would even say, like any sort of close friend, or even like somebody, because you might work with your friend, you might work with family, any sort of close connection like that. Well, you guys have a shared soul purpose. There's this idea of shared soul purpose. But anyway, justice is obviously about, fairness, right? But because it's a Libra energy and Libra is ruled by Venus, when it comes to fairness, what does that really mean? Well, it's you thinking about everything Venusian, and has everything been handled fairly, which means, has money been handled fairly? Do I feel good about being in this? Am I being treated respectfully? That's Venus. Do I love what I do? Or just do I do it just because I feel like I have to? Right? These are all things that you're going to be thinking about in this energy in the recent past. Right now we have the Page of Cups and the Eight of Swords in reverse. So the Eight of Swords in reverse does indicate release, some new hope, feeling a sense of new hope, getting out of a situation that wasn't really resonating with you, and it making you feel in one way or another rather liberated, feeling a sense of freedom from something because you have this new opportunity, right? The Page of Cups does indicate, a new job that you really love. For some of you, you might be doing volunteer work, and it's like doing this new volunteer work that's just what the doctor ordered. For some of you, this is going to be actually maybe even deciding to study something different, right? Study something new, right? Anything like that. We have it working with the Seven of Wands in reverse. So the Seven of Wands in reverse is like leaving something stalling out, quitting something, having weak boundaries when it comes to something here. Very interesting. We have it working with the Six of Cups, which is feeling very nostalgic about something that you used to do. And there's a reunion indicated here. So reunion could be anything from reconnecting with people that you used to work with, revisiting something that you started, some sort of project that you started, returning to an old job, returning to an old major in school. There's this element of return. So what I feel like here is you feeling this sense of release and this sort of like feeling like you have the chance to start over, but in something that you were involved in at one point, in one way or another. Even if you were never involved in it particularly this way, maybe it's through people that you knew, through old friends, something having to do with your old neighborhood or somewhere you used to work, somewhere you used to live, anything like that. But it is this revisiting of something. And it's because of this, right? I mean, because of the Seven of Wands energy, where you ended up quitting something and now you want to return to or maybe it has to do with something that you quit that you were involved with a bit ago and you're returning to it. So that's like a very direct interpretation, where if you quit a job a bit ago, you going back and seeing if they would rehire you or if you want to give it a go again. So in the near future, we have the Seven of Swords in reverse and the Knight of Swords in reverse. So, I mean, first of all, again, whenever we have swords reverse, it's like some sort of truth coming out, right? But the Seven of Swords in reverse does indicate, again, something coming to light, there being conversation. This could indicate some sort of punishment as well. Maybe if somebody was doing something a little sneaky, a little under the table, they shouldn't be doing it. But once the light is shown on it, you're able to make amends, right? That's the energy here. But with the Knight of Swords in reverse, it's not going to be, like there's definitely going to be this sort of argument that's going on. Somebody was deliberately like shady. It's like somebody was deliberately cruel here. Deliberately cruel, deliberately shady, but they end up getting caught. And the light is shown on it, and we have the Nine of Swords, and this is about rest and recovery, making amends in that Seven of Swords in reverse. And here with this, we have forgiveness, right? We have this idea of moving on, like, whether you're going to stay in it or not, it's like, I forgive you, whatever happened, toothpaste is out of the tube, let's just go on. And you're just focusing on having a strong foundation. Now, this does indicate reunions. This is another reunion energy. Very interesting. So guys, for some of you, if you quit a job in the past because of where you felt somebody who had some very self-serving behavior, the light is going to shine in that, the communication is going to happen, and there amends are going to be made, and it's going to be sort of this very celebratory reuniting of something having to do with either back to a job, reconnecting with a business partner, something to do with that. I mean, this is really specific. I'm getting this very specific. So for those of you not resonating, maybe we get you next time. Now, in the near future, we have the Hierophant. I like this. This is about traditions, conventions, having expectations, and being able to conform to them, which I feel like is very much what you guys just like what the doctor ordered right now. Beautiful King of Wands energy. Love it. King of Wands, I like this because it's Cancer and Leo. And that, we have that water and fire. So Cancer, you guys are all about, again, that home, feeling at home in something, feeling safe, feeling secure. But that Leo energy is like creative and fun and fiery and feeling really excited about moving forward. So great combination of energies to have, right? Of course. But at the same time, I feel like you're going to feel a lot of courage, and you're going to feel the wherewithal to feel very bold. And really take the bull by the horns, right? You could be dealing with a really solid energy like this. Either way, I just see there are ultimately ending up being a lot of integrity going on here, right? Definitely. Now, for some of you, we have a lot of really good energy there is a new beginning that's going on here, and I feel like there's an evolution of something, right? Because the Three of Swords can indicate like ending, breaking off some sort of connection to a job altogether. And then the Ace of Pentacles very literally can be a new job, a raise in promotion, investment, some sort of new income. But the Three of Swords could simply be also going back to whatever happened here, like with the Swords reverse energy, discussing, having that conversation about the pain, about the disappointment, right? Because what is Three of Swords? Three of Swords is Saturn in Libra. Libra is that 7th house of partnerships and people who we have that shared soul purpose with. Saturn is all about restriction and delay and karma and challenges, right? So you sitting and having this conversation about, listen, when you did that or when you did this, no, I mean, that was really like not good. But it ending up in an Ace of Pentacles situation where maybe when you go back, it's like, it's almost like a new job, or you could be getting a new job altogether. This is just very benefic though. Again, raise in promotion, an increase in money, some sort of new income coming in as the final energies, the final outcomes. So very good. So I feel like you're leaving some sort of like difficult energies that you're dealing with somewhere in there. Okay, we got Taurus. Mercury, 3rd house. Good. I like 3rd house communication. So there's a lot of communication that's going on, which is very nice. 3rd house Gemini, learning something new. Lots of online communication, right? Again, Mercury is the ruler of the 3rd house. Very good. And we have working with Taurus. So Taurus is the 2nd house of resources. So good for the money. Taurus is also ruled by Venus. You're going to be very happy in what it is that you're doing as well, or at least feel good about the direction. Right? It really is. But I do see you learning something, lots of things that are new. Oh, Aquarius. Oh, I like this, Cancer. This is great. Aquarius is all about innovation, the great innovator. This is also the card of the humanitarian, ruled by Uranus, is about the future. Very nice. Aquarius is also the 11th house, which is about your goals and your wishes. So I feel like you guys are going to be very, very focused on that. Very focused. But this is not to say it will be easy. This can be a very disruptive energy as well. You know, it's sort of like a free and radical and, you know, idiosyncratic kind of energy, right? Where you're realizing you might want to do something a little different, right? So it's a kind of like very experimental. You know, Aquarius is always about out of the box, that kind of energy. And then we have the void of course moon. Yeah, I mean, we have a void of course, actually. Well, it's actually this week of the, well, we always have void of course moon happening here. So the idea of missing doesn't quite literally mean missing. It sort of means allow things to unfold as they need to unfold. What this means is there aren't going to be too many crazy aspects getting in your way, which is a good thing. So rather, you want to appreciate the unfolding of something. Something needs to unfold in its own time, and there's definitely this element of trying not to push something beyond what is feeling natural for the energy. Right, so you don't want to be a little, you don't want to be aggressive having to do with anything having to do with career or money, okay, right now. Not aggressive. You can be creative, but not aggressive. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.